Ryan and I are usually lukewarm on racing type games because of the physics and mechanics they usually employ in there to like really simulate the racing experience. But that didn't stop us from looking at Speedcicleta. So, was it a good choice to look at it or not? Stick around for the teach, and then I'll tell you if I thought it was or not. Alright, we are set up for 2 players on Speedcicleta. I will say this is a prototype copy. Everything is subject to change, and some content may not be in the base game. Check the campaign for all the information needed. The basics of the game is you're going to be playing cards to try and work your way all the way to the finish before your opponent. Before I get into all that specifics, I do want to go over some of the cards so you can kind of understand how things will work. There is an assortment of obstacle cards that each do something different. So you have 2 of them that are pedestrians on the road. You'll grab the pedestrian, you're going to place it 5 spaces ahead of the lead cyclist. So if this was played right now, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd play them on that spot. They're going to move towards the starting line at 1 space per round. Reduce move by 1 when passing. Another one you can have is there are 3 different animals, a squirrel, a moose, or a fox. The squirrel you place 3 plus spots ahead of the trailing cyclist. The fox is 4 plus ahead of the trailing. The moose is 5 plus ahead of the trailing. So you can place them anywhere on the map except for the ones that are highlighted in yellow along the edge. They also have the no paw print. That means you cannot put animals on those. Animals do not move like the pedestrian does. They just stay there, and they're going to require you extra movement to pass them. Once every player or auto has passed them, you are then going to remove it from the track. The other 3 are 3 different types of vehicles. You have a car, a bus, and a truck. You're going to place them at the start of the track, so right along here. They're going to move 4 spaces for the truck and car, 3 spaces for the bus, until it passes the finish. And then bicycles move 1 space back when the bus or any of the other ones pass. So if I am here and the truck goes 1, 2, 3, I would go back 1 space. So now that you've seen those cards, there are 3 others that have the orangish color to them. These are considered hazards. When you draw them, they will have these tokens that you'll be putting out. So you place Slick Road token 2 plus head. You basically place these 2 plus spots ahead of yourself, and then they have various things that they have on the card of what they do. So those are some of the bad cards. Your other cards, you have your movement cards. When you play that, you'll just move 1, 2 spaces. You have these conditions that you can play on other players that stop them from moving. So if you have a condition on yourself, you cannot move until you get rid of the condition. There's 2 ways of getting rid of that. It rotates over 4 full rounds. After the 4th full round, it will get discarded and you're fine. Or there are these remedy cards that correspond to certain ones. This is a flat tire. The multi-tool does not fix that. This fixes a busted wheel. Let's see if we can find, there we go, spare tire. So if you have the flat tire on you and you play the spare tire, you would get rid of the flat tire. So those are remedy cards. There are also these safety cards in the deck. What the safety cards allow you to do is they will stay out in front of you and allow you not to be affected by those items. So had I had the puncture-proof tires in front of me, they would not be able to play a flat tire on me. There is one special move that I'll go over before I get into the rest of the game, and that is a Coupe Forre, I believe it's called. So that is, say my opponent goes to play the flat tire on me, I have the puncture proof. I can immediately play the puncture proof, which negates this condition from happening, and I would move forward 1 space if able. That being said, that is all the special cards. Let me get this set up, and I'll explain to you how the game works. So to set up the game, you are going to build your map. They have some layouts in the rulebook. Otherwise, You could be drafting tiles and building your own however you wish. There are rules for that in the book, but I set up the basic one in the rule book that said, teach me everything you know. You're going to have the meeples and all of the hazards nearby. You're going to take out those 4 safety cards. You're going to shuffle up the deck. You're going to deal each player 6 cards. You're going to put the safety cards into the deck, shuffle up the deck, and set it as a draw pile, leaving space for a discard pile, which I did. I'll just discard up here. Then you can give each person a player aid that's got the turn action order and the conditions, what they mean, and then how you resolve conditions down here. Basically what the condition is, what the remedy is, or what the safety card protects you from. So, on your turn, the very first thing you would do is you'd move obstacles, if any, if you had obstacle cards in front of you, which you can have a max of 2. You would then move those obstacles if it's the car or the pedestrian, etc. Next, you're going to draw cards until you have a maximum hand limit of 7 cards. Typically, it'll just be 1 unless you do that Coupe Forre, in which case you will have only 5 cards in hand, so you'll be drawing 1. If you draw a obstacle or a hazard, you're going to play it immediately. You're going to look, so this is the fox, so we're going to grab the fox, place 4+ spots out of the trailing cyclist, that's where we are. Can't go on the intersections, we're going to put you, we'll go right here on that spot. Then if you do draw an obstacle or a hazard and need to play it immediately, you will then have that in front of you, but you will still be able to play 1 more card from your hand. So in this instance, my remedy does nothing. I can play a flat tire on my opponent so that they can't move, or I can play one of my moves. I have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 3. You move the amount shown, the 1, the 2, or 3, so I can move 1, I can move 2, or so actually I could play the 3. So the fox is there because it just it doesn't have to be how much movement you have when you get to the fox, it just has to be the card. So if I play my 3, I go 1, 2, 3, and I've gotten past the fox. So that would be my turn. I would then, so I play a card. If I'm unable to play a card because I'm affected by a condition I can't go, I need to discard a card. So I end my turn with at most 6 cards. I am going to rotate any unresolved conditions if I have any. And then my turn is over. Optionally, at the beginning of my turn, after I've moved any obstacles, instead of drawing just the 1 card, I can choose to draw up. In that instance, I will discard as many cards as I choose from my hand, and then draw until I have 6 cards in my hand. After that, I will still rotate a condition if necessary. So, you guys are going to go back and forth, playing cards, moving around here. There are a few movement restrictions. Again, I mentioned the fox. If there is a pedestrian in the way, it reduces your movement by 1. So had I played that 3, I would actually go 1, 2, 3. The cars, you can pass by cars fine. However, if they pass you, you get pushed back 1 spot. There are these intersections with the stop signs. No matter what your movement is, when you get here, you need to stop, and you can proceed on the next turn. When you play a card, you can go 1, 2. There are 3 spots per intersection card. There is a safety card that is a right-of-way that will allow you to just pass the stop. In what instance, these are 2 spaces to be 1, 2, and then you proceed forward. The game will end once someone has crossed the finish line. So that is the basics on how to play Speedcicleta. Stick around to hear my thoughts. Alright, so there you go. That was the rough and tumble way of playing Speedcicleta. There are a couple other smaller rules that you can discover in the rulebook or as you play, but that is the basics to get you started and a good idea of how the game plays. As I said, that was a prototype copy, so things are subject to change, improve a little bit, tweaked a little bit, and some of those meeples and wood bits were not how they're going to be in the final production. All that being said, long and short of it, we really enjoyed this one. Bri really liked the map, and she really loves like grabbing the tiles and just making it a map for us to play, and just the amount of replayability because of the amount of map tiles. What you saw there is a very basic map. That's only like half the map tiles. the little track tiles that you can make. So you can make this huge, massive one that's going to take you a couple hours and just make this huge, epic race, especially if you have more people. You can just have like a little like Tour de France type of thing where you can even make different courses and run a whole circuit. So the fact that it isn't just a plain basic board, one track, you can change it. And the main thing that triggered with me with it was I grew up with my family playing a game called Mille Bornes. Some may have heard of it, some may not have. It was a car racing game where you were playing cars. You had to get to, I think, 10,000 miles or something like that, and you had the hazards and stuff. This does share that same DNA, but this one definitely improves on that by helping mitigate some of that bad luck you would get in Mille Bornes that would just take it down a level where it'd just be very annoying to play. This one with those tweaks actually makes it enjoyable and makes it where you aren't as hindered when something bad happens to you. Like, you got a flat tire. All right, so instead of having to just keep searching through the deck until you get one, if it takes 4 turns, you're back on the road. And with how quick the turns are, those 4 turns fly by because it's literally usually just play a card, play a card, play a card, play a card, so it's your turn before you even know it, and you're back on the road. Also, the fact that, well, if you can't do anything anyways and your hand isn't what you need it to, that whole draw up mechanism where you can basically discard your hand and cycle through the cards so you can hunt for that card if that is what you want to do. Being able to mitigate that luck of the single draw by cycling through and getting more cards into your hand. The other cool thing is a small tweak with the animals is instead of just having the one blanket animal, having the different levels of animals that can get progressively harder or easier to kind of pass through as you go. Because obviously the moose is harder to pass than a fox or a squirrel or something small. The pedestrians, they're not going to fully impede you, but it's enough that you gotta slow down and kind of go around them so you don't hit them. Cars, when cars are coming up, a lot of times you'll have to pull off to the side so they don't hit you. So the mechanisms make sense, which is going to really help with kind of learning the game and dealing with it. Like, if a car passes you, what's going to happen? You're going to kind of slow back a little bit. So you're going to kind of go back as the car passes. The inclusion of the intersections, because we all know, like when you're riding your bike, you have to stop at the intersection. Stop, look both ways to be able to go. But there is a safety card in there called right-of-way where you don't have to. So you can just fly by them. I believe it also makes it so you can fly by pedestrians in addition. So obviously, back to my query that I posed at the beginning of, are we glad we took a look at it? Yes, because it doesn't do what we don't like from other racing games. You aren't going to have the whole drafting mechanic to where if you're behind the person and you move, then you can move further because of the wind ratio, or you're going too fast so you have to slow down going to the turn, otherwise you wipe out or take damage, or it doesn't deal with that. It's this nice family weight in essence, just quick, easy playing game where it's, just move, try and avoid the hindrances, stop the bad stuff from happening to you, so forth and so on. So it's the type of racing game that we do enjoy because it isn't full-on physics-based. Add into that all the different map tiles so you can just have, in essence, almost unlimited replayability because you can just make different maps that are going to function. I mean, if you don't like the intersections, take them out. Just have this crazy fast race where no one has intersections to stop them. See how that works out for you. So a way of being just that customization ability to make the tracks that you like is another thing, like I said, that just really drew me in, and especially Bri, because like after we got done with the race, she's like, all right, where's the other tiles? What track can we build? What track can we build? And she was just kind of playing around with them like that. So just that being able to immerse yourself in the game like that could be a good way that we could get the youth to play. Hey, you want to build a map? And then we can race on your construction, on your creation, and see how your creation goes, and see who can build the best map. So just the fact that this is such an interactive ability that you can make for the whole family is definitely such a huge plus for this game that it goes beyond just playing the game and seeing who won or lost. It's that whole extra step of being able to create something that you then can use. So again, if all that sounds like something you enjoy or at least piques your interest, go ahead and check down below for any information to follow this campaign or see more about the game to help you with your decision. All right, so until next time, get biking.